This episode of Disney Coast to Coast is brought to you by You Can Podcast Now. If you're a podcast listener, there's a pretty good chance you've thought about starting your own podcast. And I say go for it. It's certainly been a good thing for me, but perhaps you're not quite sure how to get started. Just head to youcanpodcastnow.net to receive your free ebook and webinar sharing with you reasons to create your podcast, the power of podcasting, how podcasting can be used, inspirations for your podcast, the do's and don'ts, and so much more. So head to youcanpodcastnow.net for your free ebook and webinar today.
Is your magic meter running low? Well, we've got a cure for you. Welcome to Disney Coast to Coast.
Hey folks, and welcome to Disney Coast to Coast, the ultimate unofficial Disney fan podcast. I'm Jeff DePauli, and in today's House of Mouse headlines, a Disney Plus series has already been renewed for a second season, and some theming has been stripped away from Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. That and so much more, so let's get to it.
Hear the latest news from the Walt Disney Company in today's House of Mouse headlines.
The Disney Plus news keeps coming, and this time it's about some documentaries headed to the platform. Here are some of the documentaries we can look forward to on Disney Plus. Howard, from director Don Hahn. This critically acclaimed documentary shines a new light on Howard Ashman, who penned the unforgettable lyrics for Disney classics like Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, and The Little Mermaid, and who created musicals such as Little Shop of Horrors. Howard will stream exclusively on Disney Plus in 2020. I am particularly excited for this one. I just wish it would be available earlier. We've also got an untitled Mickey Mouse documentary coming from Oscar, Grammy, and Emmy-winning documentarian Morgan Neville, whose credits include Won't You Be My Neighbor and 20 Feet from Stardom. He'll produce this look at the mouse that started it all, focusing on his deeper significance and what his cultural impact says about each of us and about our world. There's also a documentary called People and Places. This upcoming series will present true stories from all around the globe about real and extraordinary people who embody the Disney ethos. A mix of up-and-coming and established filmmakers will bring to life People and Places, continuing the tradition established by Walt Disney in his Academy Award-winning series of documentary short films from the 1950s and 1960s. Then there's a documentary called Wolfgang. This delicious doc takes a close look at the life and work of the original celebrity chef, Wolfgang Puck. Those and so many more documentary and unscripted series will be coming to Disney Plus, and I think they may just be the thing I'm most excited for. One of the first projects Disney's been pushing for Disney Plus is the live-action Lady and the Tramp movie. This past week we got a new trailer, and this time we see the classic spaghetti scene, as well as a bunch of other classic moments from the animated film. I was looking forward to Lady and the Tramp, but this latest trailer got me really excited for it. It looks very good, and I think it shows Disney putting their money where their mouth is as far as saying that the quality of films coming to Disney Plus will be no different than what we see in theaters. The cast of High School Musical, the musical, the series, got some good news because it's been announced that the Disney Plus exclusive series has already been renewed for a second season. This is another one of the Disney Plus projects that they really seem to be pushing, and one that I'm very excited for, so I'm happy to see that Disney must be pretty happy with Season 1 in order to greenlight a second season, and the buzz online must be pretty darn good if they're willing to make that major investment. So does this mean that they'll be traveling to the resort from High School Musical 2 in order to put on a production of that show there? I guess we'll soon find out. If you just can't wait until November 12th to check out High School Musical, the series, you won't have to, because 4 days before the launch of Disney Plus on November 8th, Disney will be premiering the first episode of High School Musical, the series on ABC, Freeform, and Disney Channel. Go Wildcats! That has been a lot of Disney Plus news, but now let's head into the parks. When it comes to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge from coast to coast, one thing you can't deny is that the theming of the land is among the best. But slowly, we're seeing signs of this theming stripped away. First, we saw the metal sporks removed from the land, for good reason, and now the menus in Batuu will no longer feature the out-of-this-world names that the land opened with. Over at Docking Bay 7 Food and Cargo, menu items like the smoked Kadu ribs have been simply renamed to the smoked pork ribs. This change has happened for all menu items at this location. I have very mixed feelings about this. I totally get why they did it. Nobody likes to be intimidated while reading a menu, and I admittedly am one of those people that if it takes too long or too much effort to decipher a menu, I move on. When people move on, Disney loses money. So it makes sense that they would want to make it easier to understand the menu. But I do feel really bad about the fact that the effort and time that went into theming the food has now been stripped away. Personally, I wish they would have put more effort into making the food at Docking Bay 7 more delicious instead of changing the names. Then maybe more people would eat there. Last week, there was the bad news about the Disney Skyliner being shut down after being open for less than a week. It was surprising that such a new system had broken down so quickly, but even more surprising to me is how quickly it has reopened. The Disney Skyliner at Walt Disney World is now reopened with limited hours. Y'all know my opinions on this, so I'll just say, good luck. 2 more names have been added to the list of narrators for the Epcot Candlelight Processional this holiday season. Tony Award winner Cheetah Rivera will narrate on December 11th and 12th, and Warwick Davis of Star Wars fame will narrate on December 19th, 20th, and 21st. Over at the Disneyland Resort, the dates have been announced for the Disneyland Candlelight Processional, which will take place on December 7th and 8th. Unlike Epcot, where they announce the narrators in advance, the Disneyland Resort tends to keep it a secret until the day of the event. Let's continue with the holiday news, but fly over to the Disneyland Paris resort, where this year they will not have the traditional Christmas light icicles on their Sleeping Beauty Castle. This year, during Mickey's Magical Christmas Lights, Sleeping Beauty Castle will be part of the new tree lighting ceremony and include projection mapping, special lighting on Central Plaza and Main Street, all ending with the lighting of the tree in Town Square. Guests will be able to hear the sound of sleigh bells ringing as Disney's royal couples join Santa, Mickey, Minnie, and their golden entourage for a seasonal sing-along while setting Town Square's giant Christmas tree aglow with a dazzling display. In some more changes coming to the Disneyland Paris resort, over at the Walt Disney Studios Park, it has been announced that the Studio Tram Tour, which has been part of the park since its opening day, will be shutting down to make way for Cars Route 66. Buckle up and join Cars stars Lightning McQueen and Mater for a fun-filled family road trip where you'll discover natural and mechanical wonders along the legendary Route 66. I never personally experienced the Studio Tram Tour, but from what I'd seen online and from what I'd heard from other folks, this is a very welcome change to the park. I'm happy to see Disney continue to plus the Walt Disney Studios Park. When it comes to fun on the high seas, Condé Nast Traveler readers chose Disney Cruise Line as the #1 top large cruise line in the world for the 8th consecutive year. Readers rated the fleet of 4 the highest from more than 400 cruise ships across multiple brands. Condé Nast Traveler Readers' Choice Awards is one of the longest-running and most prestigious recognitions of excellence in the travel industry. On Disney Cruises, during the month of November, travelers will have the chance to see a sneak peek of Frozen 2. You'll also be able to catch this sneak peek at various other locations. Beginning November 3rd, a special look at moments from the film will be presented in the Hyperion Theater at Disney California Adventure Park for guests gathered to experience the Frozen Live at the Hyperion stage spectacular. That's a new location for the showing of the sneak peeks. It'll also be shown in the Studio Theater at Walt Disney Studios Park in Disneyland Paris starting November 4th, and as part of the Walt Disney Presents attraction at Disney's Hollywood Studios beginning on November 5th. Now let's talk about some Marvel news. Marvel President Kevin Feige has been promoted to the role of Chief Creative Officer of Marvel. He will remain President of Marvel and will now have more control of the creative direction that Marvel takes. Marvel Television and Marvel Family Entertainment will now also be under the Marvel Studios control. Obviously, Marvel Studios has blown up under Feige's leadership, so it sounds like a deserved promotion to me. If you've ever wanted to become part of the Avengers and join the Marvel Cinematic Universe yourself, you now can. Avengers Damage Control is a new virtual reality experience available at certain Void locations. If you're not familiar with the Void experience, I encourage you to give a listen to episode 537 of Disney Coast to Coast, where we discuss the Star Wars Void experience. This Avengers version will be at various locations, including downtown Disney at the Disneyland Resort, but not at Disney Springs at Walt Disney World. Now let's get to this week's Twitter poll where I asked you folks, if Walt Disney World was going to move its Halloween party to a different park from Magic Kingdom, which would you choose? Of course, your options were Epcot, Disney's Hollywood Studios, or Disney's Animal Kingdom. In last place was Disney's Animal Kingdom with only 15% of the votes. Close to that was Epcot with only 17% of the votes. And the winner overwhelmingly was Disney's Hollywood Studios with 68% of the votes. I would agree with that, although frankly I think Magic Kingdom probably is the best fit for a Halloween party. Do you agree with the results of this Twitter poll? Make your voice heard by following Disney CTC on Twitter and taking part in the Twitter poll every week. That's DIZNEYCTC on Twitter. Now, folks, it is that time of year again. We're winding down 2019 and heading into 2020, which means you need a new calendar, right? So the Disney Coast to Coast 2020 calendar is now available over at DisneyCoastToCoast.com. This year, in addition to the traditional wall calendar we've been selling for the past several years, there's also a desk calendar, which I am a huge fan of. It comes in a handy little case, so it'll sit right up on your desk, and you can enjoy the original Disney photos all throughout the year. You can order yours now over at DisneyCoastToCoast.com. Your purchase helps support Disney Coast to Coast and allows me to bring you new episodes and a brand new season starting in 2020. Now, this episode of Disney Coast to Coast was produced by Philip Elke, who has supported the show through Patreon. If you'd like to become a DCTC producer or gain other rewards, including early access to episodes, live stream Q&As, and more information can be found over at patreon.com/DisneyCTC. That's patreon.com/DIZNEYCTC. Other than that, folks, have a magical day. Bye!
Thanks for listening to Disney Coast to Coast. Have a magical day.
Disney Coast to Coast is produced and hosted by Jeff DePauli. Learn more about the podcast and become a supporter at DisneyCoastToCoast.com.